Yo, what's going on guys? Arekkz here, welcome back to another Devil May Cry 5 video. And in this video, I want to take some time to just sit down and talk about my impressions, my hands-on time. Obviously, yesterday I had a chance to play the demo. I uploaded the video for that. You guys seem to really enjoy it. So firstly, thank you for the awesome support. But at the time, I obviously wanted to focus more on just bringing you guys the gameplay. When I was going to Gamescom, a lot of people were like, please go hands-on with Devil May Cry 5, please upload some gameplay. Because obviously prior to that, we hadn't seen anything outside of the tiny snippets in the trailer. So this was your first chance to really kind of go hands-on with the game and see some gameplay. So my focus yesterday was just to get the gameplay and show you guys what you wanted to see. Now, just before I get started on this video, don't forget we are also currently running a giveaway for the limited edition God of War PS4 Pro. This is the last one we got to give away, so if you guys want to enter for a chance to win this, then click the link in the description box down below, follow the instructions to enter. Now, first things first, I had a really good time playing it. Now, I appreciate that gameplay-wise, it wasn't the best showcase of Devil May Cry gameplay. You know, I'm not necessarily like a professional DMC player, and in truth, it's been 5 years since I played DMC Devil May Cry, and it's been 10 years since I played DMC 4. So it's been quite a while since I played any of the DMC games regardless. So naturally, I was a little bit rusty going in, and when you're at an event like this, it is quite difficult because, you know, you queue up for a while and you have a limited window. They're like, you can play for 15 minutes, and in that 15 minutes, you can do whatever you want. Now, obviously, I wanted to try and get to the end of the demo, so naturally, you pick up a game that you haven't played for like 10 years, or a series you haven't played for 10 years, and you're like, okay, I need to relearn the controls quickly, try and get to the end, try and see what's new, and there's a lot of juggling to be done. So, yeah, fair enough. Obviously, in an ideal world, I'd go through and be getting S ranks left, right, and center, and showing off like the best possible combat. But regardless, I still had a really, really good time. It's just nice to have DMC back. Like, I played a lot of other games within this sort of genre, so to speak, you know, following DMC. I've obviously played, like, you know, Bayonetta, other games in that space, but it is just nice to be back playing another DMC game. You've got the DMC humor, and obviously just the universe itself. So, speaking more specifically about the gameplay, so one of the first things, obviously, you know, you have your gun, you have your blade, as you'd expect, but you also have your arm, and naturally, obviously, in this situation, we're playing as Nero. They have confirmed Dante is also playable. We've seen some crazy screenshots where he can just swing his bike around. It seems like he uses that in combat, which I can't wait to see, but obviously for demo purposes, we're playing as Nero. Now, the arm is an interesting component. Took a little bit of getting used to, because the arm is kind of like a finite resource. Obviously, your gun, you have infinite ammo. Your blade, you use it as much as you want. The arms, they are things that you can pick up. They're things you can use, but they're also things that you can go through. So the way that it works, typically, you have your melee button, you have your range button, and you have the button tied to your arm abilities. And then you can use it for a variety of different things. So there's one arm that was particularly good at aerial combat. You might have seen some of the clips where I was sort of dashing around. In truth, there were some parts where I wasn't intentionally dashing around. So a couple of things that I kind of picked up as I was playing through, a couple of the moves. For example, when you want to grab and pull like an enemy towards you, you actually have to like hold down right bumper and press A. And obviously if you don't hold it down, you actually just tap it, then you end up just using the arm instead of pulling them towards you. So that's why if in some of my clips you saw me dashing back and forward, that's kind of why. There's one arm that was much better in aerial combat. There's another one which I didn't upload it in the gameplay that I uploaded yesterday, but I do still have a clip of it, and this is the one where you can actually hold it down and you charge it, and then when you unleash it, it comes out as like this big laser beam, which is really, really cool. But also, the first time I used it, I was like, you know, after you've killed the enemies and suddenly the laser beam is still going, you're like, I kind of don't need this anymore. You could obviously end it prematurely, but that's also where the kind of finite resource comes in, because moves like that, the more powerful ones, also consume the arm. So they are things that you pick up, and if you use something like the laser beam move, it obviously consumes one of the arms. You can also self-detonate the arm, so if you're like mid-combat and you're kind of getting towards the end of this, you know, the end of like a string of combos or the end of like a fight, and you want to just sort of like end it in a big bang, you can press, I think it's LB, and you can just detonate the arm. It'll consume one of them. But that's also a way to dish out like a good deal of damage, something you can use on boss fights, obviously. But again, they are things that you will go through. Now that's kind of the interesting thing as well, because you'll pick them up as you go around the world. That's kind of one of the things that looked a little bit odd. I mean, I say odd because obviously we're playing in a world of demons and the whole world is odd as it is, but seeing just random arms floating around, you kind of just go and pick them up. That's obviously how you acquire more. You can get some additional ones. I think we've seen some screenshots of like the shop. You can of course call in the van, and you can then, you know, buy items from there. It didn't seem to work in the demo, but obviously that is another thing you can obviously dip into. So there are plenty more arms, but in the demo we had two to choose from. We basically had the one that was better in the air. We obviously also had the laser beam one too, but still, really, really cool aspect. It's like another thing to think about in combat. Not only are you jumping around and dodging around and using your typical, you know, melee range mix-ups, you obviously also have the arm to factor in too. And again, it just adds a whole new dynamic to gameplay. So it's a really cool addition, and I definitely can't wait to see if some of the ones we've already used are kind of wacky, like the laser beam arm, then I can't wait to see what some of the other ones are, maybe towards the end of the game. Outside of that, I didn't use the gun as much in combat, to be honest, because I don't know whether it's sort of like a combo thing that I didn't necessarily pick up, or whether it's something that I get later on, but a lot of the sort of gun moves initially seem to be more sort of single fire as opposed to rapid, so they didn't seem to flow quite as well into my combos, but that's probably more so down just to like kind of my adjustment to it, and once I work out how it all links together, because there were two different ways you could play the demo. There was auto on and auto off. Now auto on basically makes it so that you can just press a button and it's kind of like easy mode. It will just flow through and do fancy combos for you without you having to worry too much. But since I wanted to kind of focus more on just like how things actually link together, I played with auto off, so I played, you know, manual mode. So there's no sort of assistance in that, so all the combos you create have to be on your own. So that's probably why I dropped a few of them in the process. In hindsight, I probably should have gone and used the flashy mode just because it's the first time playing it, but hey, I jumped in the deep end, that's what happened. So there are still loads of combos, as you'd expect from DMC. There is still the depth. You can go into the pause menu. There's a whole array of things you can scroll through. Obviously, I had limited time. I only had like a 15-minute window, so I could either have sat there and gone through and painstakingly looked at like every single combo, or I could just try and run to the end of the demo, and that's kind of what I focused on. But yes, there is obviously that depth, and we've seen in some of the trailers, we've seen like, you know, Nero surfing on a sword, as mentioned, some other things like that. So there's definitely all the kind of variety and the plenty of like the flair and the style that you have come to expect from DMC. Outside of that, it just like, again, game feels great, the music is awesome. Like, I put out a tweet the other day because I genuinely, for the past week, have basically been listening to like the main theme for DMC5 on repeat kind of every morning. It's like my theme tune right now. I just love the song. I'm just kind of hooked on it. So when I was playing and it kicked in, I was like, yes, it just sounds so good. Obviously, there's, you know, I can't wait to hear the rest of the soundtrack. That's going to be really awesome to see. And of course, outside of that, again, I mentioned at the beginning, but yes, DMC humor is back. Some of the kind of snarky remarks we got from Nero, I imagine there'll also be those kind of comments when we get to play as Dante and things. But yes, it is cool to sort of see them talk back to some of the bosses and some of like the bigger, more fearsome enemies. It's just like really, really cool to have that sort of attitude aspect to the game. So yeah, very, very excited. I've only really had a chance to play. I played the 15-minute demo and then had a chance to jump back on like very briefly afterwards, but realistically I've played for probably about 25 minutes so far, so I've really only played a little bit of DMC, but I am incredibly excited for it. I can't wait to play more. I can't wait to actually have a chance to sit down when there's not like a 15-minute timer and just dive deeper into the combos and really try and get a feel for it and actually see how things start to link together, because you know, that's when it really gets into its own. When you actually start understanding the combo flow and you really start pulling things together, then this game just becomes an absolute spectacle to watch. So yes, definitely going to be playing some more. Of course, it comes out next year, so as and when I get a chance to go hands-on again, I will bring you guys some more gameplay on the channel. If there's stuff you guys would like to know, then let me know. I'm still at Gamescom. Maybe I can try and find it out for you guys. But in the meantime, those are some of my hands-on impressions. If you guys missed the video from yesterday, then I will also link that down below. But otherwise, thank you for watching. Keep it locked. There'll be more Gamescom coverage coming your way later on today. But until then, thanks again for watching. Take it easy. Catch you next time. Peace out.